Today we're going to kind of gloss over a little bit of two different topics on today's Motivational Monday. I'm going to talk about gratitude and I'm going to talk about meeting people in your life. So let's just jump right into things. I hope everyone looks at whatever you have going on in your life. Think of three things that you have that you're grateful for. Whether it's you're grateful for your car, your job, the money that you have, whatever it is. It's a good day to be grateful. Gratitude is super important. It's one of the higher vibrational frequencies that you can be in, is being grateful for the things that you have. It is something I'm trying to work on in my own personal life. It's just being grateful for the opportunities given, being grateful for the people that we've met, being grateful for the things that we have. Now, that was kind of mainly the little bit of the gratitude, but it's gratitude, but in a way of meeting people and learning things. So let's jump into it. So I've met some interesting characters at interesting points in my life that I particularly they like it because I met them in my life. And this is what makes things so interesting and so special, because it's the fact that you meet these people at this particular moment in time that leaves such an impact for you. Where I met a guy that I worked with, super nice guy. He had some issues. He just got released from, I guess he was in a halfway house. He got out. He was an older gentleman. I won't say his name, but early on with him, I liked him. Then he started getting a little bit grouchy and things like that in this job that I worked at with him, where we kind of got into disagreements. And I was like, I don't understand why this guy's so triggered all the time. Like, I don't really get it. Like, what's the big deal? I ended up working in his position at a particular time. I ended up working at his position. So he worked at a position in my job. I ended up doing that position, which isn't my normal position. So I worked it, and everything he said to me and everything that he complained about, I then understood within that moment. Within that moment, I was like, I thought this guy was like ridiculous for always crashing out, always being upset. I'm like, why is he so angry? I'm not understanding here. I was put in his shoes, and I saw firsthand everything that he complained about is what I complained about. And I was like, you know what? Sometimes you have to sit there and humble yourself and understand where somebody's coming from. And I understood where he was coming from. I understood after that moment, and I ended up, me and this guy being great friends. Unfortunately, he passed away earlier this year in March, but he was one of those guys where I met him at a point in my life where he was just a interesting character. Every moment I had, he was the man. Let me tell you, this guy was the man. I remember me and him, we had to do a table. So working in a restaurant, we had a table that broke, like the top of it broke off. We had to go get another table. It was this whole thing. In the middle of doing this, me and this guy, he saw this girl, and he goes and he starts rizzing her up. He's like, hey, baby, how's it going? People who know who I'm talking about are going to know who this is. But he'd be like, he's like, hey, baby, oh, you're looking great in this bikini. And they're like, he's flirting back and forth. I mean, he's risen this chick up, let me tell you. And it's just like, I sit there and I think that unfortunately he did pass away. But I'm like, the fact that I met him, the fact that the time that he went into prison, he served 10 years, he got out. By the time I didn't live where I lived now, I didn't have the job that I had now. And it was like everything that happened, and I met him while he's in this halfway house and as he's working at this job. And it was like almost written in the stars that we ended up meeting. And I'm like, it is so interesting. And I sit there and I was telling a coworker like a couple months back, I'm like, it is so interesting, the people that you meet and the time that you meet them in. And this is where the gratitude comes in. Like the fact I got to meet them, but it's the fact of how special it was because of the circumstances that came together for us to meet. Like he went through all this. I went through like the time this happened, I would have been 6 years old, and then I was 18 by the time that I met him, and everything like that. It was like the stars were aligned for me and him to meet, and for me and him to take things, take stuff from him. And what do I mean by take? Like, even though he ended up having cancer, optimistic, always optimistic. Like, there would be times he would get upset, and then I would be upset sometimes, and he would come up, he's like, why are you upset? Why are you upset, Aaron? Look at where you work. Look at the things that you have. He would say that to me, and I would take away. I'm like, wow. Like, every time I would be upset, he would come talk to me, and I would be in a better mood. And like, like I said, he had situations of his own. He ended up, unfortunately, getting cancer, and this is a little bit grim on this episode. I'm sorry, guys, but it's the gratitude that I got to meet him. Instead of sitting there like, oh, it's over, it's like the fact I got to meet him, the fact that the stars were aligned, and we met at this particular moment in time. For him, give me these life lessons that I take away from him in his position. It's just super duper special, super nice guy. Like, he could be grouchy and grumpy and things like that, but that's who he was, and that's what made him. So it was a blessing to get to know him. And where was I at? So yeah, he would say that to me, and even when he had cancer, he would sit there and he would be optimistic. He's like, you know what, I'm here, it is what it is. The unfortunate circumstances, he got out and immediately got cancer pretty much after that. Like, he probably got out August of 2024, maybe September of 2024, got cancer around May of 2025. So, or that's, maybe it was May, June, because he didn't show up for a little bit. He ended up giving me a call. And, I grew a relationship with this guy. We had certain things that happened. We had to work together on quite a few occasions. He was like, I don't want to work with anybody that's not Aaron. I was like, I want to work with this guy as much as I can. So it was like the bonding, because I came off the point where I liked him, and then it came off a point where I'm like, I don't understand why he's like yelling and upset. And then I put myself in his position, and I understood everything that he said to me, completely understood after that moment. And I told him, I go, everything you've said to me, I completely understand why you're getting upset. I'm going to change my ways now. Instead of me being the ego that I had, you humble myself, and I got to see firsthand what he was kind of going through. Or not going through, but things that he would get upset with. He's like, see, when you're doing this and that, he would get upset with that. So certain things like that, and the gratitude that he had, even, I went and saw him a few times at his house. Like, it became, instead of just a work thing, like, it became a personal thing. And, just talking to him, and he was just grateful for everything. He's like, you know what? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I'm here. I'm doing my thing. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I was like, man, just a badass. Like, the fact that he was rizzing chicks up. Like, he was flirting with this chick heavy. He's like, oh, I bet you do look good in a bikini. Like, he was hitting with some crazy lines on this chick, and he was like 71, 70 years old, and he was rizzing this chick up while we're in the middle of working. Like, we're just off doing our thing, and he's finding it. And he's like, oh, hey. Like, this guy was awesome. Awesome. And blessed to meet him. I'm going to tell stories. I told him, I'm going to tell stories for you, about you, forever. I'm going to tell my grandkids. Let me tell you about a guy I met when I worked with him. He's like, stop it. And he was laughing along. But I knew at some point I was going to want to do this video. But just like the fact. And I think about other people that I've met. Other people that you meet, whether they come into your life and they leave or they stay in your life. It's the fact of what they came through to get to you, what you came through to get to them, and then you meet and you get to have this interaction. Like, again, he was 6 by the time he started his court case. I didn't live where I live now. Obviously, I didn't have this job. 12 years pass. And now I'm interacting with this guy that we just happen to cross in and have a little bit of a slice of life, just a little bit of about maybe a year, maybe not even a year. Yeah, a year. About a year's time with. So just it's just something to be grateful for, not upset that it happened, but grateful that it did. And that is what makes, living so interesting. It's because the versions of the people you meet, like I meet him at a different, what happens if I would have met him 30 years ago? Like if I was old enough, or, if I was born yet and I met him 30 years ago, it would have been different. You know what I mean? It would have been different because he would have been a different individual. So it's like I was thinking about this today, and I'm like, it's so interesting the people that you meet and the times that you meet them in, because everybody changes and things get different. So like the version of myself that people have met, I'm completely different than I probably was then. You know what I mean? So it's everything's just a blessing to have that gratitude and be like, you know what? The fact I've met these people, the moment I met them, where I get to take things away from them. Like a life lessons to take away. Like even at this guy, should be pissed off, should be upset, was like, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. I'm just here living, I'm probably going to give this person a call, that person a call. I just thought I would ring you up today and see how it was going, just humble, super cool. Like, and then you get the perspective of, yeah, he did have these things that happened to him, and he ended up, going to prison and things like that. And I met him. And then you get to know, it's like, clearly he was an individual that made a mistake, went there. He's come out super nice guy. It's not like he's still doing criminal activities, because he wasn't. It was like, you could tell that he made a mistake. So then you get to learn that lesson as well of just humbling yourself. Like, and talking to people and having a communication with people, because it's like, he was not like a bad guy. Like, it's not like he was continuously still doing bad things. It was like, he was a good guy that made one bad mistake. And you get to learn that as well. And that's why it's so good to meet these people. It's so good to meet people like this. And it's so good to just meet people in general and take away experiences. Like, I know people I'm still friends with. We don't talk all the time, but I'm still friends with people from like my middle school days, one of my best friends group. And it's like, I'm probably completely different than what you remember me from the last time I saw you. I saw you too. I saw some of these people 4 years ago. Would it be 4? Yeah, 4 years ago. Some people 2 years ago. It's like, I'm probably completely different now than I am then, because the life experiences that you have, the things you learn along the way, the people that you meet. And that's why time is so different, because if I would have met him, and I was thinking about this as well, like if I would have met him today, would it have been as impactful as then? I think then it was a perfect moment to meet someone like that and have that interaction and create that kind of friendship. And that is what's so interesting, is like the times that you meet people too, because there's people maybe you meet at the wrong time. Oh, I met them at the wrong time. If I would have met you 5 years, 5 years ago, could have been different. If I would have met you 5 years down the line, things could have been different. So it's like, you just look at everything and you just accept everything as it is, and you just have gratitude for those things. And this is such an interesting lesson for a Motivational Monday. And I know this one's a little bit sad and it's a little bit different than anything I've done up to this point, but it's that interesting take. It's the interesting take to where you meet people at particular times. And that's what makes everything so special. Because it's like, if I would have, where everything kind of ends up happening at the right time, if you think about it like that, like if I would have started this at 19, or if I would have started this at 18, it would be different. It would be a different vibe. Because maybe I wouldn't have, I know, especially if I started this at 16, it would be different. There would be no Motivational Monday. There wouldn't be no betterment. It would be, different things. And then you change along the way and things happen. Life experiences, interests change, new perspectives on life. So it's like, even from, let's say I wanted to start in January. If I would have started in January, it would have been so different. I am so different from when I was in December and January. The life experiences that has happened to me, the people I've met, the things that you've learned, the things that you're maybe not even proud of, the positives, the negatives, everything that has molded you in here today makes you different. makes you different. And that's why people are always evolving. People are always evolving, and I've learned that more and more as I've gotten older, is that, 2025 Aaron is different. Aaron from January of 2026, like I wanted to start this January, and I want to reiterate that. I'm completely different than I was when I was in January. I got the flu, everything kind of got delayed. And then I start this in June. And instead of looking at it as a negative, like, oh, I wait. And I did slack off, and I wasn't, going after it as much as I should have. But I think about it, it would be so different if I would have started this in January. How different would this be? Would I have, this whole part right here would be different. Would be different if I didn't go through tough times. Things would be different. So even going through tough times, I look back, it sucked. It wasn't fun. I don't think it was fun. I don't look back at it like, that was, you go through sucky times in your life, and they make you who you are. Not negatively, in a positive way, maybe both, but I'm looking at it as more of a positive way, is that you get to take things out of it as there's other people that have gone through worse. Let me have a little bit of gratitude where I'm at. And if I swap that over with more gratitude instead of, down, negative, grotesquely negative, like really, really grody negative, if I would have not gone through that, I'd be different. I would be different. This year particularly hasn't been fantastic for me, at least early on. Now it's shaping up to be pretty good. But that's the interesting here, and that's the interesting part of life, is, as I'm saying, everyone evolves, everyone's different. Everyone's constantly changing. And that is why it is so special to meet somebody in a particular time, because that can give you, maybe there's a missing link in your life, and someone can come along and fill that missing link. Not that you're expecting it, but it's like, I met this person, they gave me the life lessons or things like that. Or they gave you a fresh perspective, like a perspective of, not judging a book by its cover, understanding where somebody's coming from, learning things like that. Like learning things. I worked with another guy I didn't think was particularly that good. I thought, like, personality-wise, as a person, he was cool, he was fun to be around, but as, like, it came to work, he didn't really have a good work ethic. But it's like, there are people out there like that. There are people out there like that are like that. He was a cool dude, but he wasn't a hard worker. But it was like he brought a vibe, but he didn't work very hard. So just things like that, and things that you have to navigate, and that's what makes everything so fun and everything so interesting, and that's what makes life so special, is because, well, again, I want to reiterate this, like, 6 years old, I meet him when I'm 18, all these things happen, I happen to collide with him when I'm 18, I knew him until I was 20, he passed away in March, as I said, and I'm just grateful. I told him, I'm going to tell my grandkids about you. And he laughed, and he thought it was pretty funny. But, just cool people you meet and cool experiences that have happened to you. Like, you can look at them as a negative, and it's like, for positive, like, I can name a negative experience right here, right now, that I will. That maybe I am a little bit. And it's actually 2 years to the date. I passed out August 7th, 2024. And it was a confidence blow. It made me a little bit more nervous, because it was like, it was not fun. It was gross. Like, just thinking about it and thinking about it, it was not fun. Passing out's not fun. If you've never passed out before, try not to. But then what that did, it was like, I need to start drinking water. I need to be a little bit healthier and drink water and stay hydrated. Things I never thought about that before, that I started thinking about now. And it was a negative, but it became a positive. I have gratitude for that experience, because if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be drinking as much water as I do now, and I wouldn't be healthy in that way. So it's like, just those little things that happen the little things that happen, the people that you meet, the like everything to meet together, just it really illustrates things, how crazy it is. Like me right now versus if I wanted to start this in January, didn't start it in June, just the difference. And thinking about it like it's a completely different thing. You know, a person you meet in 2024 and then you meet them again in 2027 and it's been maybe 3 years and you meet them again, it's like they're completely different too, because they've had 3 years of different things that have happened to them, positive or negative, that have changed who they were. Maybe, you know, everything's still the same, but maybe they have a little bit more edge to them. Maybe they're not as nice as they once were. Maybe they've gotten nicer. You know, there's just that kind of energy and that kind of thing. But as I've said, gratitude, that's super important. Being grateful for the things that have happened to you, being grateful, whether even it was a negative and it became a positive, is huge. So I hope everyone's hitting here. I hope everyone has a great Monday. I'll see you guys in the next one.